Good evening and welcome to our summer campaign. It's called Politics, it's called Government, it's called Suffering. With us, we have again Attorney Alan Pagia and we have Pastor Boy Saicon. Gentlemen, anong gagawin natin? Mukhang it is already the practice that we don't follow the rule of law. The people who studied law and who swore to the law and to this Constitution na hindi na nasusundan. The most popular person in government who they say has the highest trust rating till today, I don't know how, considering after Yolanda, continues to swell, enjoy the high popularity rating. The practice is incorrect, but life goes on. How do we as a people, how should we look at this? Alam na natin na bababoy na tayo, alam na natin na nanakawan na tayo, alam na natin hindi na nasusundan yung batas. Ano dapat gawin ng taong bayan? Magrevolusyon? Ganun ba dapat gawin natin? Sa Vietnam, magkamali lang yung China ng konti, nasakali na sila di ba? Dito, binobomba na yung mga fisherman natin, binobomba na ng tubig. Tinayuan na ng airport ang mga lupain natin. Wala pa rin, parang tuloy pa rin. Sa South Korea, ganun din, may nangyaring aksidente. Wow, nagpapakamatay ng iba. May accountability nga here. Well, there is no accountability. What do? Do we remain passive? Do we watch Chris Aquino on TV and wait until her hair cuts shorter? Soon, she might have bald head. And everyone's gonna say, wow, ang galing ng walang buhok, kalbo pala, okay. Ang pagtuturta, nakakaturta ng taong bayan gamit ang media, gamit ang poder ng Malacanang. Ano dapat gawin ng taong bayan? Wala na sila magagawa. You gotta remember, we Filipinos have been cynic. We've been cynical to all of this because corruption has existed since the time the government was born, right after when the Constitution was put together.
Alam mo, Hari, if I may, attorney, ang COPA kasi has a motto. The motto is, be informed. First, know the truth. Whether it's historical, present, and the future truth that will happen. Then, knowing and being informed, then you'll raise the level of concern, then be concerned. And then after being concerned, now you will now make a choice whether to be involved or not. Now, the role of media is very important. You have to inform the people. But inform them in a manner by which this will be explained in layman's language. Yung katulad yung injustice ang nangyayari. Maaaring hindi nila nakikita yung mga palusot na ginagawa ng gobyerno. Yung listahan na inilabas, in the interest daw of transparency, kaya inilabas, sa dami ng listahan, lalong nagkagulo. Imbes na ma-inform yung tao. Naguguluhan ngayon sila. May nagdagdag, may nagsingit, may tinanggal. Kaya na-accuse ngayon yung Malacanang na anong ginawa? Sinanitize yung listahan. Ngayon, hindi na ngayon malaman ng tao ano ba ang role ni Napoles dito ngayon? Lumalabas na parang si Napoles ang nagkokontrol ng informasyon na ang gobyerno mismo ang naglalabas. So yung media, Hari, which is the fourth estate, will play a key role. Ang tao, sabi ko nga, 63% of our Filipinos, those that live in the level of the daily wage earners, the contractuals and everything, is just waiting for an opportunity to express that. And I know that it's forthcoming.
But isn't there already people power fatigue?
Hindi people power fatigue.
It got worse.
People power fatigue was initiated by a personality, not by an ideology and
Correct.
belief.
It was not an ideology.
Nagalit yung tao Nagalit yung isang tao at sinamba yung isang tao. But in this case, pag wala na laman ang tiyan mo, tapos ang mga anak mo hindi mo na mapag-aral, paano yung daily wage earner makapagpapadala ng kanyang estudyante at anak sa eskwela? Ang trabaho niya ay good for 5 months. Anong aral ang hinaharap niya? Wala na. So, I believe, Hari, that the information can be the best tool. But it's media, and we know that we're fighting against Malacanang media. And we're fighting against commercial media. May mga network dyan na pag natawagan ng Malacanang, ayaw na maglabas ng istoryang totoo. Nahihirapan ng magsabi ng katotohanan. Ang gaganda ng kwento, mali naman ang kwenta.
Yeah, very, very well put. Attorney, rule of law is the last, is the hope of the people. When something goes wrong, tumakbo ka sa korte, it will help you resolve your issues, conflict and otherwise. The people who study the law and those that swear by the law and the Constitution after they graduate, given the license to practice law, should be the ones who should guide the people towards what is rule of law. Is it possible that we have lost the moral ascendancy of these people who were sworn to obey the Constitution by allowing the executive supremacy to rule over all, including the Supreme Court, and them, the practice of rule of law?
That is correct. We have lost moral ascendancy in our society.
Nawala na.
Not even the legal profession can claim moral ascendancy. Witness a lawyer being impeached as Chief Justice.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then, and then there are so many other examples where the lawyers take the forefront and then they end up being leaders of the pork barrel as Senate President.
That's what's happening now.
And this does not give a good signal to our youth. Now, what I think is more fundamental is what Boy pointed out, no? Information. Information in the sense of the past, the present, and the future. The future, we have to prepare for it. The present, we cannot understand without studying the past. The problem with our youth is not too many are aware of the lives of our heroes like Lapu-Lapu, like Bonifacio, like Mabini, what they really stood for, what is the history of our relationship with the Spanish colonizers, the American colonizer, what was the Philippine-American War all about, how were they able to subdue us, and now we are surrendering our territory, our sovereignty through EDCA or Visiting Forces Agreement, which would not have been not even a proposal, an acceptable proposal during the time of our Katipunero ancestors. And yet now, they call it in the name of practicality for the benefit of modernizing our military. Can you imagine the Katipuneros receiving training from the Spaniards or the Americans? It's unthinkable. And yet now, they try to make it thinkable. And that is what we're saying as we have lost our roots in the past.
Yes.
We have lost our sense of recollection of our glorious past. That we started as a very strong, a very, very patriotic race, starting with Lapu-Lapu. We knew how to fight modern, what was considered modern Spanish armadas before. Lapu-Lapu fought with what was available and natural war strategies and tactics and prevailed. Meaning, like what the American hero Rambo says, the most important weapon is not so much computers, but the mind. Ultimately, it is in the individual soldiers, it is in the individual citizens' mind where wars and battles will be won.
So we have lost our identity as a people. We have lost any sense of decency,
Sense of purpose.
sense of purpose of who we are today.
Tama yan, tama yan. Kasi, tama si Alan, kaya yan yung frustration niya, pareho kami. The historical truth is very important. Kaya tayo hindi nilirespeto ng mga kapitbahay natin na bansa. Kaya ganun kabilis tayo pag sinabing pirma. No? Does the Filipino know the pacification time of the Filipino-American War? How many Filipinos were killed?
Were massacred.
Massacred, yeah.
Now, there was a friend, I will not name who, who told me, will you please advise your president that he should fear nations that has once invaded you, occupied you, and until today controls your economy. Rather than, instill fear over a nation who has not interfered in your internal policy, or interfered in terms of the intention to invade. Because why? If China intends to invade, no, it should have done long time ago. But 5,000 years of history of non-aggression, non-intervention will not be destroyed just because they want this practice. We must remember the history of the first act of aggression. The first act of aggression started in 1992, if I may want to share. No?
Go ahead.
When the VFA was first coined in 1992, during President Ramos's time, the President was very careful. That's why it was signed during Estrada's time. Because the Mutual Defense Board that was being established first will define first yung relasyon eh. No? Pero ang nangyari, binaypass na yon, pinirmahan yung BFA, no? Pagkatapos dinugtungan ng MLSA, Mutual Logistical Servicing Agreement, na binigyan ng unlimited access ang US forces into the South China Sea. Whereas before, all the Balikatan exercises is limited to the Pacific side. That's why it's always in Dingalan Bay. Now, when that happened, and America now utilized this unlimited access, and went even as close to Hainan, the naval base of China, China felt that there is now a provocation and sponsored by our government, no, to allow this. So, dun lumabas yung 9-dash line. I believe it was more of a reaction from China to move their defense mechanism farthest, but not the intention to invade. Because if it is to invade, no, matagal na yan. Matagal na yan. But you see, in 1995, what President Ramos did, no, which I was now telling them, that build on what has been built by past presidents. Ramos was able to craft an agreement between China and the Philippines for a joint exploration, joint management, joint security over these disputed areas. And at that time, once that is signed, they will now invite or a multilateral all the other so that they will participate in the economic growth of the area. That was what was signed in 1995. So I was hoping that coming presidents, no, from Gloria should build on this, no, and now the president. But ang nangyari, they took it away, no, and accelerated the unlimited access of the Americans to the point that they are now collocating in all our military bases. Now, does the Filipino people know why the Americans is very, no, agitated to come immediately to the Philippines? Because they were being kicked out of Okinawa.
Yan.
The Futenma Air Base was voted upon by the people of Okinawa, by the 62 mayors, to be kicked out. Now, where will they preposition all of this? The original plan was to all bring them back to Guam. But they were prevailed by the Joint Committee of Congress in the Defense. Not to do that because it will defeat the rapid deployment program in case there's a flashpoint in the South China Sea. So, ang nangyari, the Philippines became the fulcrum of that prepositioning because strategic ang Pilipinas.
Okay. No? Before you go further, tama ka, humiinit ngayon, talagang swelteringly hot. Baka the boiling point might get there, and the problem is, the viewers, I'm sure in the Filipino as a whole, have a problem with understanding the real, true current events, yes, the sensitivity of what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, I joke about the lights, the heat, my sarcasm sometimes goes out of bounds. But really, ano talaga alam mo pagdating dito sa mga kakayanan? Alam mo, sa Facebook, nababasa ko, marami nag-yay, diyan ang mga Amerikano. Alam mo, how totally sad. But then again, maybe it is our ignorance that will put us down. But before I lecture you again and put you down, I'll give you a break. Go and grab yourself a cold glass of water. We'll be right back.